So I would ask everybody here to just think back to one of the first people that got you involved in politics. One of the first people that asked you to run for office, to think about going to a meeting, to join your local political party. And for that person, for all of you, that person for me is Jim and Bonnie Ladwig. So at 10 years old, I met Jim and Bonnie Ladwig because Jim Ladwig at the time was the chair of our local county party. The local county party probably consisted of about 40 people. It was pretty small. And Jim, to his credit, looked at a young boy at the time and tried to get me involved in the county party. He actually, believe it or not, would pay for me to sit at the county fair booth for all 12 hours. And he would give me the money for corn dogs, cotton candy, all those kind of things, all because that meant Jim did not have to sit at the county fair booth at all. So he ran for office in 1978. He was defeated in 1982, the year that Tony Earl defeated Terry Kohler. But he came back. He actually ran again in 1984, and that was the first real political campaign that I got paid to work on. In 1984, it was a different time. Jim, as he went door to door, and he and Bonnie were the best and most amazing couple that I had ever met in politics. Now, Jim at the time, having run now against an incumbent, wanted to look the part of a state legislator again. So he went door to door wearing a tie and a white shirt. Now, for any of you who are too young to remember, 1984 was an incredible drought year. Super, super hot. I was in high school. Jim said we were going to walk door to door and we were going to look the part. So I had to wear black pants, a tie, and a long sleeve white shirt. I will tell you, walking door to door, if you can do that for an entire summer, in that attire, you can do anything. But Jim, every single day, outpaced me. He did more doors, he talked to more people, and he won that election. He went on to serve until 1992, where he decided 12 years was enough. Now, the time that we were there, I was his last staffer. We were in the minority, so I do understand what it's like to be in the minority. We had so much time, Jim's favorite food group was ice cream. So literally every single day he was here, we would leave at 11:45 if we were not in session. We would walk all the way down State Street. We would get ice cream, and we would walk back, arriving back at the Capitol sometime around 2, because there was no rush to be back when you're in the minority. So Jim was here for 12 years, and not one year during that entire time did he ever serve in the majority. Not one time. But he was tenacious. He actually offered a bill which would have changed people's terms in the Assembly from 2 years to 4 years. Never got a hearing. I know, never got a hearing. Democrats never let that go forward. He could never understand that. But he chose to retire in 1992 because 12 years he had sponsored term limits. He believed in term limits. And he had always had incredibly competitive elections, never won with more than 54% of the vote. Redistricting happened in 1992, and lo and behold, it went from being a very competitive seat to now one that was incredibly safe that his wife Bonnie got to run for. He never really let her forget the fact that she never had a tough election and he had won every single time. So joining me here today are Jim, Laura, and Linda. It's ironic because I really feel like throughout so much of my life, I had a second set of parents in Bonnie and Jim. So I had other siblings. I got to eat at their dinner table. I got to hear them complain and argue with each other as I sat there as an innocent bystander. I actually got to hear each and every one of them say how they would never go into politics because you spent much of your youth going to parades. I believe each of your sports teams was recruited to be on the campaign trail, right? So they totally understood it. Now, of course, they each have successful careers. Jim was our Register of Deeds and then county executive, so he didn't even follow his own advice. But I know that your parents were incredibly proud of all three of you and the grandkids that they had. There is nothing that can be a better testament to your dad and your mom than the three of you. I watched how proud they were throughout their entire lives. I watched at the end as they came home and only did it because of you guys, and every single person who knows it. Now, in our area, they were synonymous with good government, being hardworking, being Republicans, but also being people that no matter what your political party was, you would want to get to know. And that is a testament that all of us, no matter how long we serve, should strive for after we leave the Capitol as much as we're inside the Capitol. So with that, I would ask all the members to rise for a moment of silence as we pass today's resolution.